Welcome to another episode of the 5enses webcast. I'm your host, Robert Zinni. Today we'll be highlighting Empty Bowls with Kelsey Wilkes. She'll be here to discuss the event happening September 18th and maybe bring some soup for me to eat. So sit back and relax. We are here with Kelsey from Empty Bowls. How are you doing today?
I'm good. And you?
Doing great. So I knew you were coming on our show for Empty Bowls, so I decided to bring a can of soup from my house because I see an empty bowl right here. But then you surprised me with the soup. So before we talk about anything, Kelsey, what did you bring for us to enjoy?
I made some Ozark butternut squash soup with toasted pumpkin seeds.
Ooh.
And it's got a little splash of sherry in it because I always like a splash of sherry in my soup. And I'm purposefully serving it with a silver ladle, and you get a silver spoon.
Okay, what's the symbolism?
And so the
about
symbolism
the silver
is that it is our 25th anniversary,
Mm-hmm.
which is a silver anniversary. And so this year we have gone all out silver. And we have sponsors this year. We've never had financial sponsors before, but we put out a call this year for a silver bowl sponsor.
Okay.
I didn't bring the silver bowl. There's one at the library.
Okay.
And our silver bowl sponsor is Oddfellows.
Oh, the Oddfellows.
The
yeah.
Oddfellows.
Lodge number one in Prescott Valley, right? They are a great organization.
Prescott Valley, yes.
Mm-hmm.
They are a silver bowl sponsor. And then we have silver ladle sponsors. And our silver ladle sponsors are Prescott Import Car Service, the Tourmet Restaurant, and El Gato Azul.
Oh, nice.
And then we have Silver Spoon sponsors as well. And our Silver Spoon sponsors, I have to look at my cheat sheet here, but it's Carol Moore, who's a Home Smart realtor, Oceans 3 Talent Group that does recruiting all across the country for higher education positions.
Nice.
Premier Eye Center, The Raven, and the Peregrine Book Company.
Oh, nice.
So we're starting out our year, and we already have $6,250 in the bank.
The event hasn't even started. You guys made money. That is awesome.
So how's my soup?
The soup is delicious. I mean, it's right around the corner because Empty Bowls is September 18th,
Mm-hmm.
and it's my favorite time of year, the harvest, and this tastes like the fall, so I can't wait. No, this is delicious, and I never had sherry before in a soup, and that's really good too.
Right in pea soup.
It is. So these bowls aren't empty anymore, but the event, like you said, has been 25 years in the making. It's your silver anniversary. What is Empty Bowls? How did it all start?
Well, it actually started in the 1990s when a group of high school students, and it's either Michigan or Minnesota, and I should know it, but I don't, but a bunch of high school students who were ceramicists threw bowls and did it as a fundraiser for their local food banks. And it just sort of took off from there, where, then we have the bowls, and then restaurants wanted to do the soups. And it is nationwide and international now. Prescott started it in 1997, and the Prescott Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, which is up off of Copper Basin, had heard about it, and they decided to do it. So they got some potters, and they made soup right there out of their kitchen, and that was kind of their first year. And then Granite Peak UU joined in with them, and so we've been doing it together for at least 22 years as a combined event, but this year's the 25th anniversary.
Oh, congratulations. I see that you're all bowled out. You got the shirt for 20, you got your earrings.
I got my earrings, my empty bowl earrings. So we will have a t-shirt this year.
Okay.
So we will have our 25th anniversary t-shirt. And one of our members who actually made me these earrings, Sue's Recitar, came up with the idea that we should do a t-shirt art contest with the local schools. So she unfortunately died suddenly on me in February, but left the project, and we were going to soldier on. We got a hold of, I reached out to Joe Howard, superintendent of schools, and Deb Dillon, the president of the school board, and said, could we do this? And he said, yeah, I'll send it to the high school. So he sent it off to the art teachers. We probably sent it out in April, and by the middle of May, we had 72 entries.
Wow, that's a lot.
2 art classes. We were blown away. I was blown away because we thought, we'll get a handful.
Yeah, maybe a dozen, right?
Right, but no, we got 72. And so we had an independent group of jurors, artists in town. We had a pen and ink artist, Chris Hawthorne, a fiber artist, Barbara Wills, and a jeweler, Leslie Ann McCowan. And they were our jurors, and they went through them and picked out 4 winners. We had a private collection donation. We had an anonymous donation to be able to award each of them some money. So it went from $100 to $25. They've already gotten their money, figured they needed it over the summer.
Of course.
Right?
Come on, school's out. Let's go party.
So they got it this summer. And Dylan Robertson has the winning design. He graduated from Prescott High School in May. And he will be back on the square with us. And Deb Dillon and Joe Howard will be there to award the kids, recognize them for their work. And we'll be putting all of the artwork up on our website, but we'll also have pictures of the 4 items. But then Dylan's will go on the 25th anniversary t-shirt, and we have a tote bag we're doing this year as well.
Excellent.
So yeah, it was great. It was a great idea, and the response was incredible.
Oh, I mean, people coming from the high school to get 72 entries, that's perfect. When I was a teacher, after 25 students can barely get work out of 3 of them. So that's good. Plus, Empty Bowls, it seems like it's a whole community event. So you have artists making the bowls, right? Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So we have potters and wood turners who make bowls. This I know is an Abby Brill bowl, and I can tell because of the design in the center. And I don't know whose signature this is, but Abby Brill is our, what we call a potter wrangler.
Okay.
So she's the person who drums up potters for us. So she has 8 local potters who are making bowls for us. And then she reached out to Wright's Ranch, which is in Clarkdale. And so it's a fascinating place. Actually, there's an article about it in 5enses this coming month. And so they have ceramicists who are making bowls for us. And then Yavapai College also does bowls for us. A couple of weeks ago on the 20th, they had a bowl throwing day at the college. And they usually get about 350 bowls for us. Every year, not every year, but most years, we have some bowls left over. The last 2 years, because of the pandemic, we didn't have our event. Last year, we didn't have an event at all. The year before, we did a drive-through event with no soup. We actually had recipes for stone soup. So you got your empty bowl with a stone and a recipe for stone soup.
Nice.
And we had bowls left over. So we have about 300 bowls left over from the last 2 years. But we anticipate between 800 and 1,000 people.
That's a lot of people.
Will come down. And the soup, the line starts moving at 11. It's from 11 to 2. People start lining up at 10 o'clock or earlier.
Wow.
And then we have wood turners who are lathe turning bowls from the Prescott area wood turners, and they'll be bringing me bowls in a couple of weeks.
Nice.
So if you come and you pick out a wooden bowl, obviously you're not going to put hot soup in a wooden bowl, but you'll get either a disposable bowl that you can put inside of that bowl. And with the ceramic bowls as well, if you don't want to eat out of this bowl, You can also get a disposable. But we have 2 Girl Scout troops that come and wash the bowls. So they sanitize them and wash them for you so you can take them and actually put your soup in them. And then you can come back and get it rinsed out when you're done with that.
Again, full community involvement with this.
Yes.
So let me get this straight. So if I go on the 18th to the square, do I pay a fee as a donation? And then I get this cool bowl?
It's $20. Okay. You pick out a bowl. You buy your ticket. You go up the steps by Bucky's statue and you pick out a bowl. We'll have 3 long tables full of bowls, and then we'll keep replenishing them. Sometimes that's the longest part because some people are very particular about what they're looking for. Some people are very quick to grab a bowl. And then you go get in line and you get 2 servings of soup. So you get your first serving, and then when you come back, you're not back in the ticket line, but you can go to the back by the steps to the courthouse and get your second serving. And then we have bread. So we get bread donations from the community as well. Generally speaking, the larger bakeries, Pangea would be more of our smaller bakery. But this year we have a cottage baker.
Okay.
And so hers is called Hot Cakes Bakery. And she has a cottage bakery industry downtown. Cottage bakery means I cook out of my own house, but you're licensed through the health department. And so she read about us on Facebook and reached out and said, I want to help. So she's baking cornbread for us.
Ooh, all right.
And she's going to be a volunteer. So she's coming to help pass out the bread this year. So, we get a lot of good word of mouth stuff for people. One of the things I want to tell you about, though, because I hear this a lot, people will say, well, I've been there before and I don't want to stand in line for an hour to get soup. So standing in line is part of the process.
Okay.
So it's part of the event because it reminds us of the people in this town, in this county, who line up every single day at a food bank or at a soup kitchen, rain, snow, heat, waiting to have food because they don't have food. They're young and they're old, they're housed and they're unhoused, and they wait in line. And we have the privilege and ability to buy a ticket for an event to help support those food banks and kitchens that are feeding people. Mm-hmm. So we want to remind people that, there are people who do this every single day of their life.
Yes.
In order to try to not be hungry.
True. And for the viewers watching at home, that's called experiential learning. I kind of know something about that.
Yes, you do.
So that is awesome. So you are mimicking a bread/soup line, let's say, that our grandparents or great-grandparents experienced in the Great Depression.
Yes.
And then fast forward almost 100 years, and we still have people out in our community that are starving and that are homeless, they need support. Mm-hmm. That is a brilliant idea. Mm-hmm. So for all of you that are going to complain, just know that it goes to charity and it's called empathy. We walk in other people's shoes, right?
That's exactly right.
Now,
that's exactly right.
I love that. That is so that gives a whole new meaning to empty bowls. Now, my biggest question though, Kelsey, is it canned soup?
Oh, no.
Or is it homemade Ozark soup from you? Because this soup is delicious. Now I know if you're making a pot.
Not from me. I am not a licensed cottage industry. Right. But we have 14 restaurants.
Okay, so the soups come from restaurants in town.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Yep.
Okay.
And we have 5 new restaurants this year, which is always exciting when you get new places. The 2 that are new to us but new to town are Red, White, and Brew,
okay,
which is across the street from the Hacienda, and Tourmet, which is another Barry Barb restaurant that is on Fair Street, right across from the Fry's store. So there are 2 new restaurants, but they're also participating in Empty Bowls this year. Our most unusual soup that I cannot wait for is by Chef Peter Padilla. He's at the Hacienda, and he is our chef wrangler. So his job is to get restaurants to be willing to do this. And these are challenging times. Restaurants have been struggling. But he is making Cajun gator chowder stew with dirty rice.
Wow.
And I can't wait.
My mouth is salivating right now because I love Cajun food. I love going to New Orleans. This kind of reminds me of like a gumbo, I think.
Yeah,
especially with that gator.
Mm-hmm. And then we have a number of vegetarian and gluten-free. Molly Beverly from Slow Food Prescott. So she is making a farmer's market, Prescott Farmer's Market minestrone soup.
Nice.
And so on Saturday, she goes to the market and she gets the leftover vegetables. So at the end of the market, there are vegetables that may not be perfect. So you might not want to take that imperfect tomato home, but they all have character and they all have flavor. And she takes those and turns it into a minestrone soup that we have on Empty Bowls Day.
I love the Prescott Farmers Market. I've been recently been going Saturdays if I'm not out of town running and get different produce and make a meal that'll last a couple of days, and it's delicious.
There's nothing like it. And Molly this year, so a couple of years ago, the year before the pandemic, we had a food justice panel. So Granite Peak and Puff, the two UU churches in town, are very justice oriented. So all the activities that we get involved with have some form of justice. So we had a food justice panel, and we had some people across the country that Zoomed in because it was a Zoom event that year when we had the stone soup. And we decided at that point that every year we were going to do some kind of education, that we needed to do more than just have an event, raise money for food banks. We needed to raise awareness about food justice, food insecurity, food deserts, whatever it might be. So I approached Molly last year from Slow Foods and said, would you do education for us? And so Molly has been working with the Prescott Farmers Market and with the Arizona Extension Service and a couple of other farmers in town. And they're putting together an education program. It's called Waste Not, Want Not. Mm-hmm. And so they will have a booth there and we'll have educational videos online. But it's really about don't waste your food, because you think it's ugly. We have a garden at Granite Peak that the kids plant as part of Slow Food Garden in Your Backyard. And I picked a bunch of tomatoes yesterday and I brought them home, and my husband's looking at them and going, "You're going to eat that?" And I said, "Yeah, as soon as I cut off that buggy end, that's going in the salsa."
Ooh, homemade salsa.
It's good food, but we waste so much of it.
Yes, we do.
Because we think it's got a bruise or, whatever it might have.
Just cut it off.
And so one of the things the farmer's market's going to do is to teach us about composting. And I'm learning so much this year. So one of the things I asked them was, I have single stream because I'm out in the county. And so I'm putting my vegetables in with the garbage, and it's going to go into the land and it's going to compost, right? And he was like, "No, that's not what happens. It will not compost because it will not get the appropriate oxygen and the nutrients, and it won't get turned."
Science. Oh
and
my God.
All it does is produce methane gas.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, my goodness, I was 67 years old when I learned that. Like, you never stop learning these things. And I'm now composting like 2 whole weeks. But I'm now composting because I understand now the impact that our food waste has on our landfills. And
the soil's going rotten all around the world. You bring up a good point because growing up in the 90s for me, it's like, don't waste your food because there's kids in Africa starving. But like being in education for over a decade in this community, a lot of students, a lot of families are food insecure as well.
Absolutely.
You know, there's multiple times when students come to our school where we have to apply for grants to feed them food because we don't have a working kitchen because we're not a rich or public school. But I hope that our community is aware that, you know, we may have this, you know, retirement community or people who come here that have wealth, but like everyday families that has a lot of food insecurities. So I heard, I feel like there's another thing that's going on that day, September 18th, that could turn into a special day here.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We requested a proclamation from the city council.
Okay, what does that mean?
So you say, we want you to recognize that something important is going on, and you send a request to the city council, and they put it in that whereas conversation language. So, you know, whereas September 18th, 2022 is the 25th anniversary of Prescott Empty Bowls, and it goes on like that. And the end of the proclamation is they are going to proclaim September 18th as Prescott Empty Bowls Day.
Congrats. Sorry.
I'm very excited, and Councilman Montoya is going to be on hand. He's going to read the proclamation, announce Prescott Empty Bowls Day. We're going to do that at 10:45 from the gazebo.
Okay.
So we'll have a sound system there and let the people standing in line know that the city recognizes the importance of the event to the community.
That's huge.
And then we also will be doing the ceremony for the kids.
Sweet. To kick it all off, right?
To kick it all off. And we have a band, Greg and the Gringos.
Greg and the Gringos. Is that Greg Paul?
Greg and the Gringos.
I love Greg Paul. He is such a great person.
They are playing for us. They've played several years, so they'll be playing in the gazebo during the event as well. So
excellent.
Very excited.
Yes. Now, you know, I have one last thing. I heard that, you know, you have so many different community members partaking in Empty Bowls. And I also heard that there's an art auction with local artists. So if people don't know, I paint here and there. So this is my painting that I want to donate to the Empty Bowls fundraiser. This is called Trust. And the cool thing about this is whoever gets it, you can go 360 and get a different image every time.
I love that.
So I'm excited that when you reached out to me that there is an art component. I have all these paintings that I want to get rid of, and what better to donate to a better cause. So whoever the lucky person this is, there you got my
That's wonderful.
So can you talk just a little bit about the art auction before
we
we
do
wrap
have
up?
an art auction, and it's an online auction, and it will go live on September 9th. Okay. So it starts the week before Empty Bowls, and it ends the week after on Sunday, September 25th. Back in the day, there was a silent art auction on the square the day of the event. Very time-consuming, difficult to manage among people standing in line. And unfortunately, we often had highest bidders who never came back. So,
of course,
you know, we never got the money. They never got the art. And so online, you have to pay for it before it's yours. But if I add yours to the mix now, I will have 49 pieces in the art auction.
Okay, cool.
And full array of different types of art and artists. I have one that is the art of the signature. So I have autographed Red Sox baseball.
If you like the Red Sox, I like to call them Rat Sox.
The Red Sox, there's a ball in there. Christian Arroyo, number 39.
Okay.
Autographed baseball. And, you know, we get some really interesting things. There's a number of artists in town that do found object sculpture.
Okay.
And so there's a cool little table. There's a frog made out of a lantern.
That's pretty dope.
Okay. There's some great stuff in there, and some absolutely stunning print work. There's a John Prine.
Okay.
A relief cut. I think that's the word. by a local artist,
Nice.
Strauss-Nauser.
Okay.
And so that's in there, a lot of things.
Sweet.
And what's been wonderful is I just asked a couple of artists if they would help spread the word, and I didn't have to chase anybody down.
Oh, so you had an art wrangler, just like you had a wrangler for everything else in this.
They
Nice.
did that. So Vera Sobotka and Kathy Cowan,
Yes.
just drummed up all of these people who came out of the woodwork. And there you have it. It is a community.
It's a community event for Empty Bowls, and I think once people go on the 18th, you'll see how awesome this community is. Now, unfortunately, we have to go. So if you want to plug where our viewers can see Empty Bowls, here's your opportunity to break the fourth wall.
Yes, there is a website, and I wrote it down because it's long. It's Prescott-empty-bowls.square.site. And if you go on that, you can see everything. We are adding things all the time. We also have, we're on Facebook. So we do have Prescott Empty Bowls on Facebook and on Instagram. And I've just been learning Instagram, so I'm posting videos and, feeling quite smart at 67 to be able to do Instagram videos.
I'm glad that you're still learning. Thank you for going on our show. Your soup is delicious. And everybody, join us on September 18th for Empty Bowls.
Thank you. Courthouse Square. We'll be there.
And it's so delicious.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the 5enses webcast. I hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Remember, you can get all your science, culture, and art information at 5ensesmag.com. Pick it up in one of your favorite local restaurants or stores, and also visit us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.